Okay, there is a nice way on the calculator to actually see our particle motion. Remember we started over here and we did it analytically. We started at 3, we moved to the left for 2 seconds, stopped at -1 after 2 seconds, and then moved to the right. So we can do this using our calculator. And we're going to be in what we call parametric mode. So let's first of all turn our calculator on. And then go to mode. And go all the way down to where it says parametric, or where it says function. That's what we're normally on. And cursor over to where it says parametric and press enter. So now we're in the parametric mode. Now if you go to the Y, you see that it's a little bit different than what we normally have. We have an X and a Y. Now what this does is this allows us, when we're in parametric mode, to describe what's happening horizontally and vertically, both with respect to some parameter. In this case, the parameter is time. So you can see where my X value is going relative to time and my Y value is going relative to time. Well, we're talking about just motion on a line, not anything real crazy. So what we'll do is we'll just keep our Y on the horizontal line Y equals 2. So we're going to be moving left and right on the line Y equals 2. So for that, I'll just put 2 down here in the Y. And for the X, I'll put my actual function, which is t squared minus 4t plus 3. Now, when you put x in, it comes out of t for our parameter. And that's going to be x squared. So you just square that, just treat it like you normally would, minus 4. And press again, press the x, and you get a t plus 3. So that's you're going to get the t when you press your x. All right? Now we have to set up our window. And you're going to see when you do windows now, you've got 3 other things now. You've got Tmin, Tmax, and Tstep. Well, the Tmin this is our time. So I've got this set up now going from 0 to 10 seconds. So I'm going to look at 10 seconds of this motion, because it is with respect to time. Now the Tstep is how many views I see. Now I set this for 0.05. That means every second I will have 20 views. So it's kind of like time-lapse photography. I'm taking 20 pictures per second. So that gives you a pretty smooth curve. So that's what the T-step is. That's how many times we look at it per second. So I'm looking at it at well, it gives you the indication. So my T-step is 0.05. So every 500ths of a second, I'm going to take a picture. So that's going to be about 20 times per second. Now my Tmin, I know over here I'm going from negative, I only go to -1, so I'll just go to -2, and I know we keep going to the right. So I just made the Tmax 6. The scale was 1. And then for my Y, since I'm going to be on the line Y equals 2, I can just go, and I'll just set this up to -2, I guess. Up to 6, up to 4. 2's kind of in there. And my scale 1. So I'm going to graph and watch what happens. And there's your particle. Now it's hard to see because it went kind of fast, so we can put the trace on. And you can see at t equals 0, x is 3. Well, that's what we had over here. And then we'll just cursor over here, and you see what happens as my t is changing. Now I'm always going to stay on the line y equals 2, so that's going to stay the same. Notice how I'm moving to the left until I get to -1, just like we had over here. And that was at t equals 2. I'm at -1. I keep going. I move to the right again, and there we go. So that describes your motion, so it's nice to see that. Now you could do, you can go back to the y equals, and then we can change over here, we can change this to a different type of view. So just go over to that little section right before the x and highlight it. It's going to be flipping up and down, and press enter again, and you get this little circle with a little tail on it. Now what happens when we graph like that? Now here we go. And you can see actually the particle motion slows down and stops at -1 and starts moving back. So that's kind of nice because you can actually see, because it over traces its stuff, so you can kind of see the motion. And then if you want to just see the particle alone, you can go back to the y. Oh, it's still moving, sorry. Gotta wait till it stops moving up there. That's why I got to be careful, because if you pick like a t is 0.001, you're going to be stuck for a long time. Now let's go over here. We can hit that enter one more time, and we're going to get just a circle. And now you can graph and watch what happens. And that's just our particle. Slows down, stops, then moves to the right, and it starts accelerating. And it keeps moving to the right forever. Okay, so that's kind of neat. You can check your analytical work with your calculator and get an idea on how to describe the motion of the object.